what brought them to the show? Go Mi-hyun wants more than just a crush. She's here chasing that heart-racing, can't-stop-smiling kind of love. Song Ji-seo? She's fulfilling her mom's biggest dream because nothing says filial piety like showing up on national TV in search of romance. Henry's never really fallen before, but he's ready. This time, he's here to feel something real. For Han-joy, love feels like fate, a little magic, a little mystery. She couldn't resist the chance to see if destiny had a role waiting for her. Won Kyung-seo pauses, maybe still figuring it out. Dok Go-hoon? No sugarcoating it. He's in it for the prize, but at least he's honest about it. And Heo-rum? Pushed by siblings, fueled by curiosity, and armed with a playful smile, he says he's cute and he's hoping someone else thinks so too. At the shoot location, the energy winds down as the interview wraps. A crew member gives the signal, and just like that, everyone's free to move around. One staffer hurries over to switch out some gear, while another's already thinking about food. The delivery just arrived, and it's not your usual takeout. Fresh sashimi and spicy fish stew straight from the ocean this morning. The smell alone turns heads. Laughter and chatter fill the air, the kind that only comes after long takes and empty stomachs. She was reminded to stand by. Main shoot starting in an hour. Mic on. A quick nod and a soft okay as she settled into the rhythm of the set. The sea breeze brushed past, carrying a familiar scent. Looking out at the quiet coastline, she smiled to herself. It had been a while since the mainland sent people over. Somehow, their presence brought a warmth she hadn't realized she missed. This small, secluded island, far from the noise of the mainland, is the stage for Paradise on Earth, a dating reality show where 8 attractive singles live together for one intense month, vying for love under the sun. Brought to life by a hit survival show director known for shaking up the genre, Paradise on Earth has already sparked serious buzz. The format is simple but high stakes. Find a match, survive the final true love test, and leave the island with your partner, and 400 million won. Some came for love, others for the spotlight. All have something driving them. But for me, there's only one goal. She remembered sitting beside the hospital bed, holding her sister's frail hand, the weight of the sterile air pressing against her chest. Nareum's body was small beneath the thin blanket, eyes tired, voice barely a whisper as fear crept into her words. Even then, she hadn't let her smile falter. She kept her voice light, reassuring, masking the dread curling in her stomach. There was no money, not enough for surgery, not even close. But that didn't matter. Not in that moment. She promised a future painted in soft colors, school uniforms, lunchtime chatter, giggling with friends between classes. A future where pain was just a memory, and her sister could run, laugh, and live like any other girl. She hadn't known how she'd make it happen. Only that she would. Because her sister believed her. And that belief was everything. She clenches her fists as she gazes out over the shoreline, the sea breeze brushing against her face. This is it, the opportunity she can't afford to waste. No matter the challenges, the rivalries, or the mind games playing out in front of the cameras, she's going to make it to the end. Whatever it takes, she'll endure it all. For her sister. For their future. There's no space for doubt now. This isn't just a show. It's her lifeline. Day 3 of filming. By the 3rd day, subtle glances have turned into bold signals, and everyone's romantic leanings are beginning to surface. Han-joy has clearly set her sights on Kyung-seo, handing him a single flower with a playful glint in her eyes. The gesture isn't just cute, it's calculated, especially when she casually drops the brand name, knowing it's anything but cheap. Henry watches from a short distance, his mood shifting almost instantly. The forced smile he wears melts away the moment he sees Joy's attention drifting toward someone else. Meanwhile, Song Ji-seo and Dok Go-hoon start orbiting each other with ease, gravitating toward quiet corners and soft-spoken conversations. Their connection doesn't feel staged. It has that natural pull, the kind that makes even the cameras slow down and linger. The house isn't just warm from the afternoon sun anymore. It's starting to simmer with something deeper. Tension, intrigue, and the first real sparks of jealousy. Oh, room lets out a sheepish laugh as she gratefully accepts the help. Her tone stays playful, but there's a spark in her eyes, something genuine flickering beneath the surface. Ju-goom, Il chuckles in response, but there's a quiet flicker of pride in the way he holds himself, like he's just passed an invisible test she set without saying a word. She tilts her head slightly, teasing him with a line that's just coy enough to test the waters. And it works. His ears go pink almost instantly. For someone who usually carries himself with boldness and certainty, Il suddenly looks like he's been thrown off balance, in the gentlest way. A few sweet words, a little softness, and he's visibly disarmed. He smiles, maybe a little too earnestly, as he offers his help in the most ordinary way, like opening jars might somehow become a shared routine. They don't say it aloud, but something has shifted. Not dramatically, not with fanfare, just quietly. Enough for both of them to notice. Orum leans in with that usual twinkle in her eye, effortlessly mixing charm and mischief as she points out San Wu's physique. Her hand brushes his without hesitation, and just like that, the tips of his ears begin to flush. He stiffens slightly, caught off guard, not by her words but by the unexpected warmth of her touch. She notices, of course. She's already clocked him as the type to crumble under a bit of closeness. With an innocent grin, she stretches out her hand to compare. He hesitates, but then slowly places his palm against hers. The size difference is obvious, and so is the color rising in his cheeks. She laughs, soft but sharp, delighting in the effect she's having. His denial is clumsy, barely holding up under her teasing gaze. Everything about him says strong, but right now, she's the one in control, and they both know it. The mood shifts the moment the announcement is made. Tonight, the men are choosing who they want to share dinner with. No more guessing, no more subtle cues. It's decision time. Dobi, Namgung, Wu Jae, and Han Joy all set their sights on the same person, Won Kyung-seo. The tension thickens as her name gets called again and again. She's clearly the favorite, but with so many contenders, the evening ahead promises more rivalry than romance. Go-hoon goes a different route, opting for Dal-rae. It's a quieter move, one that raises a few eyebrows but somehow feels intentional. Yoo Do-hyunk, steady and composed, picks Shim Jae-yeon, while Henry, calm on the surface but hiding something deeper, chooses Choi Monica. And then there's Hae-oh-rum. 2 votes. Bon San-woo and Ju Gum-il both call her name. It's the first real sign of overlap, and maybe the first crack in whatever peace existed so far. As the pairs split off to dine, each table becomes its own little world, full of guarded conversations, stolen glances, and quiet strategy. What's meant to be a meal might just turn into a test. The 0 votes table feels like its own little world, isolated, overlooked. Go Mi-hyun sighs, frustrated by the lack of cameras and muted mics. It's like they don't exist. Song Ji-seo leans in, deadpan but determined. We need to step it up. Her sharp social instincts have her sizing up the competition already. Go Mi-hyun, the hopeless romantic, can't hide her jealousy as she eyes Kyung-seo, surrounded by suitors. Even as a woman, she admits Kyung-seo's beauty and charisma are undeniable, but something about her seems familiar. Song Ji-seo, the resident gossip, spills the tea. Kyung-seo's not just another contestant, she's an active idol. The news hits Go Mi-hyun like a bombshell. What? An idol here? On a dating show? She gasps. Yang Ara, ever the cheerful one, chimes in between bites, trying to keep spirits up despite the tension. But her curiosity is piqued too, especially about Hae-oh-rum. The whispers grow. Hae-oh-rum isn't famous, but her behavior is raising eyebrows. The queen bee energy, the flirtations that seem more calculated than genuine, it's all too obvious. None of the guys seem to notice, which only fuels the gossip at their table. As they talk, it's clear these women are forming their own alliance of skepticism, ready to call out the game when they see it. The 0 votes table might be ignored by the cameras, but the players there are watching everything, and they're ready to play. Oh-rum's mind races. She's caught the whispers, but isn't sure if they're about her. A flicker of doubt crosses her face. Am I being disliked? Suddenly, Kyung-seo leans over from her table, loud and bold, interrupting the murmurs. Hey! Is gossiping about others really that fun? The group at the 0 vote table freezes, caught off guard, exchanging confused glances. The director's voice cuts in sharply, reminding Kyung-seo she's not allowed to leave her seat. Kyung-seo shrugs it off and responds with a mischievous smile. All right then, I'm leaving, before making a move to stand. Song Ji-seo stammers, unsure how to react, and Go Mi-hyun nervously tries to explain, but the tension hangs thick in the air. no one quite knowing what will happen next. Orome watches the scene unfold, the drama buzzing around her, but feels a calm settle inside. What's all that noise? She thinks. Forget it, none of it matters. Whether they whisper behind her back or paint her as the villain, those voices don't define her. Her mind drifts to her sister lying in the hospital, the real reason she's here fighting. The weight of that thought steels her resolve. She catches Ban Seon-woo and Ju Gum-il raising their glasses, inviting her to join. She smiles softly, feeling the quiet strength in the moment. No matter what, she tells herself, lifting her glass. Cheers. Inside, she vows, I'm walking away with that prize money. For her, for us. At the edge of the island, the tide laps quietly against the shore where a dead fish lies half buried in the sand. A lone great egret, pristine and silent, bends down to feast on the decaying flesh. Suddenly the bird stiffens, its eyes widening unnaturally, its feathers ruffle violently as a low, guttural grr. The sun glints off the sea as the crew hauls in nets heavy with the morning catch. Mr. Kim, ever eager, already grabs a fish and cooks it up quickly, pan still sizzling, steam rising in the salt air. He digs in without hesitation. The flavor surprises him. Rich, tender, almost too good. He cleans the plate before anyone else even starts talking. Nearby, the others sort through the rest of the haul. Something about the fish feels off, slicker than usual. The skin almost clings. They joke about it, brush it off with laughter, and shift the conversation to the mainland crew. Young, good-looking people swarming the island for a shoot. The mood is light, familiar. Then Mr. Kim stirs, first a twitch, subtle. Then both hands press hard against his chest. The laughter stops. He hunches forward, his breathing ragged. Mr. Kim jerks violently, once, then again. His back arches, body seizing, limbs rigid, like he's being pulled by something inside. His mouth opens wide in a silent scream. No sound escapes, only the awful rasp of air forced through clenched teeth. There's an island. Secluded, lush, and strangely perfect. A place where the skies are always blue, the breeze is always warm, and spring never ends. Flowers bloom like they've never known winter, painting every path in wild color. To the rest of the world, it's paradise. But to those who come here, it's the stage for the most intense romance reality survival show ever filmed. Welcome to Paradise on Earth. The rules are simple. Find love, survive the twists, and pass the. At the end, 400 million won is waiting. But there's a catch. Every successful couple splits the prize evenly. The more winners, the thinner the pot. So the question is, are you here for love or the money? And more importantly, can you afford to fall for someone when everything is on the line? Ready or not, paradise begins now. Day 7 of filming, behind the scenes, cracks start to show. Dok Go-hoon leans in, voice low, strategy clear. He isn't here just to play fair. His eyes are sharp, calculating. He's already made his intentions known. He'll flirt, manipulate, and sway the other contestants. Not for love, but to make sure no other couples form. Fewer matches mean a bigger slice of the prize. And for someone with his following and hustle, 400 million won isn't a romantic dream. It's a business move. Despite his promises, Song Ji-seo fidgets beside him. Her smile falters. She wants to believe him, wants to trust that his sweet words aren't just part of the game, but unease twists in her chest. In a show where feelings blur and cameras catch everything, even the most charming reassurance can sound like a well-rehearsed lie. Orome watches from a quiet corner, her expression unreadable, but her mind racing. Her gaze lingers on Dok Go-hoon, all charm and manipulation, bouncing between Song Ji-seo and Dal-rae like it's all part of some strategy game. And maybe it is. She clocks it instantly. He's playing both sides. He'll pair up with whoever gives him the better shot at the end. She continues observing the rest. Won Kyung-seo is surrounded as usual. One of her persistent suitors will definitely make it through to the final with her. And Shim Jae-yeon with Yoo Do-hyuk, they've been locked in from the start. Steady, solid, practically married by dating show standards. That leaves Orome. She does the math. 4 couples, 8 contestants, 400 million won. If all of them clear the final hurdle, it splits evenly, 100 million per couple. Her share would be 50 million won. But the money only matters if she passes that final test. And to do that, she needs to choose right. Ban Seon-woo or Ju Gum-il? Both seem interested, both could work. But who's more likely to go all the way with her? To cooperate, to commit, to win? She exhales slowly. time's ticking. The next move might decide everything. Oreum, fresh from the pool, watches Sonwoo confidently preparing food, clearly impressed by his skill. She playfully comments on his cooking, hinting that she's curious about his background, though she pretends it doesn't matter. Inwardly, she wonders if he might be the better choice compared to Jo Gum-il. Suddenly, Go Mi-hyun enters with an energetic smile and quickly inserts herself between them. She compliments Seonwoo's cooking extravagantly and takes his hand, making it clear she wants to spend more time with him, especially by the pool. Seonwoo looks a bit flustered, while Oh-reum senses the rivalry intensifying. Mi-hyun casually drops news about a popular idol among the participants, raising questions about her true personality and reputation. Though it's not said outright, the remarks hint at competition and tension beneath the surface. Oh-reum processes this quietly, realizing the game is more complicated than it seems, with alliances and rivalries quietly forming in every corner. Oh-reum watches Mi-hyun stumble through her words, thinking she's clueless about the vibe in the room. Sonwoo's impatience with Mi-hyun's constant chatter is clear. Mi-hyun excitedly brings up the final matching test, speculating it's all about proving true love, wondering if it involves lie detectors, sincerity checks, or maybe even a vote from everyone. Oh-reum feels the weight of the test looming ahead, knowing the show stresses genuine feelings, but wondering how it will actually be measured. Mi-hyun complains about contestants only here for the prize money, worried that if they end up paired with someone like that, the sincere ones will be hurt. She looks to Seonwoo for agreement, but Oh-reum is anxious about being seen as just money-driven. Seonwoo bluntly tells Mi-hyun she's too nosy and that, no matter what, he'll follow his heart. Mi-hyun tries to cover her awkwardness, worried if she upset him. Oh-reum quietly admires Seonwoo's straightforwardness, honest and true to himself, no drama. Outside, Song Ji-seo tries to argue about sneaking smokes away from the cameras, but the crew reminds her that on a reality show, nothing stays hidden for long. She's frustrated, claims they promised to cover for her, but the director isn't having it. Meanwhile, Dok Go-hoon pesters a staff member for his phone, clearly impatient to make a call. She tells him to hang tight, but he's been waiting forever. She admits she hasn't had any luck reaching him either, and promises to keep trying. Tension's rising, both sides caught between rules and their own needs. Oh-reum feels the weight of the rules. No personal phones during the day, devices taken every morning and returned only at night to keep everyone focused on each other. But she can't shake the hope for that call, the one that connects her back to reality. Her mind flashes to the nurse's words, a rare exception made just for her because of Naryum's condition. The nurse stressed the importance of staying in touch, reminding her she's the only guardian and must call every day no matter how late. That call means everything. Oh-reum wonders if Naryum is still waiting up for her. She anxiously hopes the call won't come too late. A crew member scratches and complains about an itch, snapping Oh-reum back to the moment. Her mind drifts to Seonwoo's serious words, the way he said he follows his heart. It stirs a mix of feelings inside her, a little drained by how much emotions get tangled in this game, yet she steels herself knowing there's only one more week left. She pulls strength from thoughts of her sister, the real reason she's here, pushing through it all. Oh-reum spots two people in a room, locked in a tense confrontation. Her mind races. Could that be Do-bi and Won Chung-seo? She watches as Do-bi grabs Won Chung-seo, who pushes him away, telling him to go. But he won't let go, accusing her of liking it too, trying to force himself on her. Her desperate shout cuts through the air. "Crazy bastard, let go of me!" Oh-reum hesitates, torn between stepping in or staying back. She worries about making a scene. Do-bi coldly reminds Won Chung-seo that her agency told her to stick with him. Won Kyung-seo's reply is firm. She only joined because of him. Something inside her snaps. She knows this is beyond boundaries. This isn't right. Without another thought, she steps forward. This time, stopping him is the only choice. Oh-reum knocks hesitantly, catching their attention. The tension in the room thickens as Do-bi demands she leave, dismissing her presence. She notices Won Kyung-seo's discomfort, fueling her suspicion. Standing firm, Oh-reum calls out about the absence of cameras, forcing the situation into the open. The The cameras shift focus, and Dubai quickly masks the seriousness with a smirk, brushing off concerns and trying to charm his way out while placing a hand on her shoulder. He leaves, but the uneasy feeling lingers with Oh-room, knowing something isn't right. She inwardly curses herself. Far from charming him, she just stirred up trouble. Won Kyung-so's voice cuts through, questioning her motives, hinting at some past favor. The memory of Kyung-so standing up for her at the zero-vote table flashes back. Oh-reum tries to brush it off, insisting she didn't help out of kindness and that there's no need for such careful acting between them. Then, leaning close, she whispers a bitter truth, that this whole show is bound to fail. Two people lie lifeless in a dimly lit camera room, slumped over their chairs. The flickering monitors cast eerie shadows across their pale faces, while scattered cables snake across the floor. Silence fills the space, thick with a chilling, sinister atmosphere. Won Kyung-so leans in close, her voice barely above a whisper, and leaves Oh-reum with a cryptic remark. Then, without offering any more explanation, she turns and walks away. Oh-reum watches her go, unsettled, trying to make sense of the words. Something about Kyung-so feels impossible to pin down. She snaps out of it with a jolt. Her phone. She rushes off, hoping it's not too late. Kyung-so enters a different room, retrieves a phone quietly, her expression unreadable. Oh-reum, meanwhile, makes her way toward the kitchen, recalling where she last saw the youngest staff member by the pool. As she turns the corner, she spots her. The girl is hunched over, rapidly chewing on ice, her movements erratic, murmuring the same words over and over. Hot, itchy, burning. Sweat beads down her temple despite the cool air. Her gaze drifts toward the pool, but it's clear her vision is swimming in a haze. Ju Gum-il sits outside, staring out at the restless sea. A strange tension prickles in the air, and he mutters that something doesn't feel right. Henry agrees, fidgeting beside him, noting how unusually long they've all been left waiting. But before either can speculate further, a staff member bolts past them, headed straight for the pool. Confused, Gum-il calls out, but she doesn't stop. She jumps. Gasps ripple through the cast as they rush toward the edge. At first, some try to rationalize it. Maybe the water's shallow, maybe it's a stunt. But the second her body floats back up, silence collapses into chaos. Go-myeon touches the girl's skin, then recoils. Her hands are coated in something thick, almost sticky. She stammers out a warning, drawing back in horror as she finally sees the staff member's face. Bloated, pale, covered in strange, oozing splotches. Jum-il checks for a pulse. Nothing. The panic explodes. Shouts for help, scrambled attempts to reach medical staff. Nothing goes through. The radios stay dead. Song Ji-seo, still hoping it's all an elaborate prank, tries to laugh it off, but the look on the crew's faces says otherwise. This wasn't scripted, and no one is answering. Oh-reum's eyes dart to the nearby mounted cameras. None of them are moving. Worse, they're pointed at strange, skewed angles, like no one behind the scenes is watching anymore. Her stomach sinks. This isn't a prank. She replays a moment in her mind, the staff whispering yesterday about being itchy, brushing it off like a minor annoyance. But now, she realizes it wasn't just harmless chatter. They were the first signs. The staff member, dead. Ju Gum-il, desperate, kneels down, ready to perform CPR, but Henry rushes in, voice calm but firm. He warns them not to touch her. His eyes, sharp with professional instinct, focus on the strange discoloration on her body. The spots aren't just bruises. They're blooming, erratic patterns that hint at something far more serious. Henry, ever the cautious veterinarian, pulls on gloves and leans in, inspecting the body closely. The sticky substance clinging to her skin is unlike anything he's seen. Unnatural and thick, almost like it's still reacting to the air. Someone asks about prior symptoms. Nothing. She was fine just a few hours ago. Now, gone. The weight of it all begins to crush the group. Song Ji-seo nervously wonders if it's contagious. Mi-hyun, visibly shaken, urges everyone to get inside. Henry gently tries to guide Kyung-so away, but she doesn't budge. She stands motionless, staring, as if her mind's already spiraled too far to come back. Meanwhile, Son-woo moves toward Oh-reum, concern etched on his face. He speaks gently, trying to gauge if she's okay. She answers automatically, but her mind races. None of this makes sense. But one thing is terrifyingly clear. Whatever this is, it's already begun. The chaos still hangs heavy in the air as one staff member urges the others to inform the remaining crew. Someone rushes off without hesitation. Then, gasps ripple through the crowd. The drowned staff sister stands up. Someone shouts. A surge of relief follows. For a split second, hope pierces the tension. Ju Gum-il stumbles toward her, stunned by the impossible revival. "Are you okay?" he asks, kneeling beside her, helping steady her trembling body. Others begin to crowd in, voices shaken but relieved. Inside, someone murmurs, "Wait, isn't she totally fine now?" Another chimes in, scoffing, "Yeah, there's no way someone just drops dead and walks it off." Henry, still pale, doesn't look convinced. He shakes his head. But her pulse, it was gone. I know it was gone. Oh-room stands back, eyes narrowing. Something is wrong, terribly wrong. The air feels colder now, too quiet. Ju Gum-il gently places a hand on her back to support her. His fingers stick. He blinks, confused, the texture under his hand unnatural, like cold, thick sap. He starts to draw away. Her head jerks toward him. A crackling snap echoes from her neck as she turns with an inhuman angle. Her eyes are lifeless, glassy. Her lips peel back and her mouth opens too wide. From deep inside her throat comes a guttural, wet, snarling screech. Ju Gum-il thinks to himself, "When I first arrived in paradise, I wasn't expecting much. Just another flashy reality show, another scripted attempt at love with 2 bright lights and 2 fake smiles. I figured I'd play the game, charm a few people, and leave with a few followers, maybe even a shot at that prize money. But now?" He looks at the scene unraveling in front of him, the vacant eyes, the inhuman scream still echoing in his ears, the way the girl's body moved like it was held up by strings, not muscles. Now, none of this feels like a show anymore. And whatever paradise on earth was supposed to be, it just turned into something else entirely. The director had said, "Ju Gum-il, I'll start the first interview now." He had simply replied, "Yes." But his thoughts were anything but simple. He had wondered how anyone could develop real feelings in just a few days. It sounded absurd. And yet, the moment he saw Oh-room, that thought vanished. She was his dream, his ideal type, everything he didn't even realize he'd been hoping for. And when she said, "The person I want to go on my first date with is Gum-il," his heart nearly stopped. His face had gone bright red, the warmth rushing to his ears before he could stop it. In his mind, it wasn't just a date anymore. He was imagining wedding vows, a life together, her in white, smiling just for him. He had known she didn't like him yet. But that was okay. He had told himself he would try harder, because in that moment, he truly believed it. Coming on this show was the best decision he'd ever made. Ju Gum-il's scream barely leaves his throat before it's torn open, ripped by the staff member who now moves with something inhuman. Blood gushes in thick spurts as he collapses, wide eyes locked on Oh-room, the last image burned into him, her frozen in horror, trembling, unable to look away. The staff member, no, the thing that used to be staff, lunges down, gnashing, tearing into his flesh. Everyone around them recoils in panic. Ban San-woo charges forward, yanking the creature off with everything he has. "He ate a person! What the hell? Stop!" he shouts, but there's so much blood. Ju Gum-il lies motionless, his chest no longer rising. Is he dead?" Oh-room asks, voice shaking. San-woo pulls her close, shielding her eyes. "Oh-room, don't look. Are you okay?" She flinches. "Ah, yes!" A staff member yells, "Stay still!" struggling to pin the attacker. But it thrashes violently, strength unnatural, too strong, too fast, not human. The thing twists its own neck with a sickening snap to break free, then jerks its body upright, neck hanging at an impossible angle. "Ah, careful," someone shouts. Shim Jae-yeon bolts in, grabs its head, and violently twists. The neck gives way, but it doesn't stop. It hits the floor, twitching, crawling forward like a spider with broken legs. "It's still moving," someone gasps. "That thing, its neck's broken, but what the hell?" Without hesitation, Jae-yeon grabs a fire extinguisher and slams it down hard onto the thing's skull with a bone-crunching crack. Everything goes dead silent. Jae-yeon exhales. "I think it's finally down. We need to get out of here." Ji-young stares at her in disbelief. "Are you insane? You just killed someone. That's murder." Jae-yeon narrows her eyes. "Does that look like a person to you?" Chaos brews, panic stirs. Behind them, a wet, guttural sound. Ju Gum-il, soaked in blood, face pale, eyes open, but not his own anymore, rises with a crooked grin. Sunwoo shouts, "Run!" grabbing Jaeyeon's arm and pulling her with him as chaos explodes around them. Feet slam against concrete. Screams echo through the air. Everyone bolts for the safety of the building. Henry turns mid-sprint, glancing back, only to see Kyung-so still standing there, frozen, unmoving. His heart lurches. Why isn't she running? She just stares ahead, blankly, like none of this is real. Henry hesitates for a moment too long, torn between fear and instinct. But the growls get louder. The blood-covered figure charges toward her. He swallows hard, mutters an apology under his breath, then turns and sprints after the others. Behind them, the infected surge forward, snarling and lunging, closing in fast on the motionless Kyung-so. Oh-room yanks Kyung-so's arm, dragging her into motion. Kyung-so stumbles. "What the? Come on!" Oh-reum barks, not stopping. They sprint toward the door, adrenaline hammering in Oh-room's chest as she hears the snarling just behind them. Too close, too fast. She spots a cluster of chairs stacked nearby, grabs one mid-run, and hurls it back, then another. The crashing metal legs buy them seconds. Just seconds. They reach the door. Oh-room grabs the handle, pulls. It doesn't budge. Her heart drops. Locked? Inside, Go Mi-hyun is gripping the door tightly shut. Yang Ara shouts, panicked. "What are you doing? There are still people out there." Mi-hyun's voice trembles but holds. The ones who can survive need to survive. Oh-room's eyes widen in disbelief, her fingers still wrapped around the door that refuses to let them in. Yang Ara's voice cracks in disbelief, rising over the chaos. Her eyes are wide, pleading as she stares at Go Mi-hyun gripping the door shut with trembling hands. Inside, Mi-hyun's expression twists, not with guilt, but with desperate justification. Her knuckles are white. Her voice is shrill, almost unrecognizable, as she shouts back. She's not thinking straight, just terrified, spiraling. Every second drags as the sound of pounding grows louder outside. Yang Ara's chest heaves. Her voice shakes, not from fear, but fury. "They're still out there," she screams, heart breaking with each slam against the door. But Mi-hyun doesn't move. She presses harder, and that's when Yang Ara realizes she's really going to let them die. Jo-yeon's eyes go wide as she realizes what's happening, panic rising in her throat. Inside, no one moves, no one helps. Oh-room yanks at the door with trembling hands, calling out in desperation, but Go Mi-hyun stands frozen, her grip like iron. The others inside avoid her gaze, Ji-so, Woo-jae, both pretending not to hear, not to see. Oh-reum's heart pounds in her ears. Her mind races. They're out of options. Behind her, Ju Gum-il's zombified form lunges again. In one swift motion, Seon-woo shoves a thick book into its gaping mouth, forcing it back, but the thing doesn't stop. They're running out of time. Choi Monica shoves Go Mi-hyun aside with enough force to shake her stance, fury in her voice as she demands the door be opened. The tension snaps like a wire. No more hesitation. She throws the door open wide. Oh-room doesn't waste a second, calling for Seon-woo. He shouts for her to run with Kyung-so on his signal. The air feels razor thin. 1, 2, 3. His boot slams into the zombie's chest, giving them just enough room to break free. They sprint, Oh-room dragging Kyung-so with her, hearts thundering in sync. They make it. Monica yells for Seon-woo as he dives in behind them, and the door slams shut just as the zombie crashes against it with a sickening thud. Inside, silence hangs, tight, tense. They're safe, for now. Inside, everyone is catching their breath, the tension thick and sharp in the air. Henry breaks the silence, eyeing the glass warily, wondering aloud if it can really hold up. Someone tries to reassure him, mentioning the reinforced build, but the uncertainty still hangs heavy. Go Mi-hyun's panic spikes, voice rising, the shock catching up to her. Song Ji-so snaps back, just as shaken. No one knows what those things are, but one thing is crystal clear. They were just seconds from death. And whatever those infected are, they're not done yet. Kyung-so jerks her hand free, voice cold and sharp, lashing out at Oh-room for stepping in again. But she fires back, just as tense. This isn't about wanting to interfere. It's about surviving. The relentless thuds of the zombie pounding on the glass shake everyone's nerves. Sunwoo cuts through the tension, suggesting they move downstairs. Others quickly agree, not eager to test if the glass will really hold. Nervous glances pass between them as they descend, the echo of footsteps replacing the pounding, for now. Sunwoo lingers by Oh-room, checking on her. Go Mi-hyun tries to speak, her tone softer, apologetic, but he doesn't even glance her way. His focus stays on Oh-room. His question is gentle, Is she hurt? She nods faintly, more shaken than she lets on. But for now, they keep moving. Downstairs, Doc Go-hoon lounges beside Dal-Ray, clearly unaware of the chaos above. His tone stays light, brushing off the tension as if it were nothing but a joke. Dal-Ray notices movement, people rushing in. Her warning barely leaves her lips before Go-hoon hushes her, tossing out a mocking remark to lighten the mood. But the group that enters looks anything but amused. Song Ji-so glares, her thoughts sharp and bitter. Again, he's clinging to another girl, again pretending nothing's wrong. Go-hoon teases her, his words smug. That smugness disappears when she spots the lipstick stain on his neck and finally snaps. Her voice cuts through the tension, fierce, loud, explosive. He stares, stunned, as she spits out the truth. Go-mil is dead. The air goes cold. His smirk fades. Confusion and disbelief flicker in his eyes. Doc Go-hoon's eyes widen in horror as he spots the pool outside. A chilling scene unfolds before him. Zombies shuffling aimlessly, their grotesque forms casting eerie shadows. No! What the hell is that? His voice cracks with panic. He steps closer, disbelief rooting him to the spot. The sight of the staff member collapsed nearby makes his blood run cold. Are you saying he's dead too? He shouts, desperation creeping into his tone. This can't be real. Somebody, please say something. His frantic pleas echo through the room, tension thick enough to suffocate. Jae-yeon firmly tells Go Mi-hyun to get out. Surprised, Go Mi-hyun asks why, pointing out the danger outside and questioning if it's because she closed the door earlier. Jae-yeon doesn't hold back, saying she can't trust her, and reminds her that because of her actions, several people almost died. Choi Monica backs her up, shocked that anyone would think locking the door was acceptable in such a situation. Song Ji-so agrees, calling Go Mi-hyun's refusal to open the door selfish, and insists she should just apologize so they can move on. Go Mi-hyun snaps back, refusing to apologize. She argues that others are just as guilty for standing frozen and watching, so why is she the only one being blamed? Woo Jae jumps in, shocked, denying ever telling anyone not to open the door and demanding proof. Song Ji-so quickly shuts that down, explaining the others were just frozen in shock, which is very different from deliberately locking the door. She presses again. Go Mi-hyun should just apologize. Oh-reum watches the tense scene unfold and thinks to herself that Mi-hyun's actions were shocking. But what surprises her even more is how everyone seemed relieved once the door slammed shut. The relief in their eyes feels strange. But does any of it really matter now? What truly matters is what's coming next. Suddenly, Do-bi bursts out, mocking Mi-hyun hysterically, saying no wonder men don't like her. Mi-hyun snaps back fiercely, outraged by his words, and fires back about how he's always getting rejected by Won Chung-so. He face twists with anger. What did you just say? He snarls, stepping forward. She doesn't back down, sarcastically asking if he wants to hit her and whether he's started hitting women now. Dal-Ray quickly steps in, pleading for calm, but Do-bi's fury only grows as he clenches his fists, muttering threats under his breath. The tension in the room spikes dangerously. Oh-reum raises her hand, her voice steady and calm. Excuse me, instead of arguing like this, why don't we focus on what's actually important? Namgung scoffs. Something actually important? She meets his gaze without flinching. Contacting the outside world, we need to reach out beyond this island. Do-bi sneers. What are you talking about? We already turned in all our phones and devices. How are we supposed to contact anyone? Oh-reum's eyes sharpen. Then we have to get them back. Our phones are in the staff quarters. If we want any chance of help, that's where we need to go. Do-bi laughs bitterly. You make it sound so easy. Henry wonders if Oh-reum has always been like this, different somehow. His mind flashes back to that moment when he left Kyung-so behind as zombies closed in, while Oh-reum grabbed Kyung-so's hands and sprang into action. She's unexpectedly strong. Kind of cool. Yoo Do-hyuk agrees with Oh-reum. Getting to the outside world is the top priority. Choi Monica worries some might already be infected and suggests waiting until morning. Song Ji-so points out the staff quarters are a risky 15-minute walk through a dark forest, asking who would go. Oh-reum volunteers immediately. Son-woo tries to protest, but she insists waiting only makes things worse. If it's an infection, delaying means more danger. Yoo Do-hyuk steps up to accompany her, with Jae-yeon joining as well. Song Ji-so protests, worried about being alone and unsettled. Do-bi agrees someone should stay behind. Jae-yeon insists Yoo Do-hyuk stays, as he's good at keeping order. Yoo Do-hyuk insists they need more men with the women. Son-woo volunteers to go along, and then one more guy is needed. The remaining man looks away, uncertain. Yoo Do-hyuk weighs the options carefully. The veterinarian is essential and can't afford to get hurt. Do-bi's troublemaking nature would clash with Jae-yeon and only complicate the mission. Among the remaining three, the tallest and strongest should go. He turns to Han Joy-yi and says she should join them. Surprised, Han Joy-yi stammers, barely able to believe it's her turn. She hesitates but finally agrees, realizing the importance of the task ahead. All geared up with weapons, the group moves cautiously toward the staff quarters. Son-woo quietly opens the door, peering inside. The inner garden seems clear. For now, he whispers. Yoo Do-hyuk glances around and calls softly, Jae-yeon, stay alert. Tension hangs heavy as they step into the unknown. During the journey, Oh-reum worries silently about Jo-yi's well-being. Jae-yeon carefully announces she's opening the door and urges everyone to be cautious as they step inside. Relief washes over Oh-reum. Nothing seems to be lurking nearby. It looks like they've dodged the worst. Meanwhile, Jo-yi shivers in the darkness, eyes struggling to adjust. His thoughts are frantic. Too dark, can't see a thing. Flashlight, flashlight. Suddenly, Oh-reum grabs his hand, sensing something nearby. Zombies close in all around them. Jo-yi freezes, eyes wide with fear as one of the creatures locks onto him. His body recoils instinctively. Huh? Huh? Wait, is it reaching out? Jo-yi's heart pounds as the clanging metal echoes through the silent night. I messed up. Oh God, I messed up, he panics, watching the nearby zombies suddenly freeze, their heads snapping in the direction of the sound. Oh-reum whirls around just as Jae-yeon shouts for them to run. They all bolt toward the forest, adrenaline kicking in. Oh-reum risks a glance back and freezes mid-step. They're not chasing us? Instead, every infected had veered toward the source of the noise, the car. Snarls and groans rise as the zombies swarm it, completely ignoring the fleeing group. She thinks to herself, so that's sound. It's triggered by sound, not sight or smell. Inside the mansion, the atmosphere tightens like a noose. Song Ji-so's voice trembles, barely above a whisper. Dok Go-hoon peeks through the blinds, eyes wide. A faint red light blinks in the distance, accompanied by the blaring shriek of a car alarm. Figures move around it like shadows swirling in chaos. Do-bi leans in beside him, his voice unusually serious for once. Tension crackles. Song Ji-so grips her arms, her voice cracks. The sound outside, the wailing, the thuds, won't stop. She lowers her gaze, not wanting to look anymore. Her breath catches. A whisper escapes her lips. I'm scared. In the forest, moonlight barely filters through the thick canopy as the group slows to a halt, lungs burning from the sprint. Jae-yeon scans the shadows, catching her breath. Nothing stirs behind them. They seem safe, for now. Son-woo turns to Oh-reum, his voice low but steady. She nods, trying to keep her breathing even, though the adrenaline still pulses through her veins. But Han Joy, he's curled inward, hands trembling, tears streaming down his face. His voice cracks under the weight of panic and disbelief. The forest presses in around them, darker than ever. His sobs echo softly. Son-woo crouches down, trying to calm him. Jae-yeon, tense and unyielding, snaps. No time for this. They need to keep moving. Another ambush could come from anywhere. Son-woo gives a small nod. The tension is thick, but the message is clear. They can't afford to break down. Not out here. Not yet. Joy sniffles, wiping his face with his sleeve, still shaking. The staff quarters loom in front of them, silent, shadowed, ominous. The lights are out, but the doors swing slightly in the wind, creaking. Jae-yeon narrows her eyes, stepping forward with caution. No movement, no groaning, just silence. She signals them to stay alert. Joy trails behind, eyes wide, barely breathing. His gaze darts to the streaks of blood splattered across the wall, the floor, everywhere. Son-woo steps in beside Jae-yeon. The building feels hollow, like all the air's been sucked out of it. Not even a single infected. He murmurs that it's like everyone simply disappeared. No bodies, no sound, nothing but the echo of their own footsteps. Jae-yeon scans the area and considers the open doors. Most must have run, she reasons. But if they ran, they're probably not far. Son-woo stiffens. That means the forest and the mansion could be crawling with them soon. Jae-yeon nods once. No time to stand around, they move inside. Orom's voice cuts through the tense quiet, calm but firm. She points to the speaker in her hand, her mind clearly racing. If the infected block off the entrance, they'll be cornered with no escape. But maybe they don't have to go head-to-head. She lays it out. Everything they've seen so far points to one thing. These creatures don't behave like people. They're not smart, they're reactive. And more importantly, their senses are different. The ones at the pool charged from a distance, sure, but only after the alarm went off. The ones in the dark, practically blind. The one that walked past Hanjoy barely noticed him, even while he was trembling beside it. They can't see in the dark. Their sense of smell is weak. But sound? That draws them in instantly. Not people, just noise. She lifts the speaker again. If they use this the right way, they could lure the infected away. Clear the path without getting too close. All they need is the right distraction. Everyone falls silent, the weight of her logic sinking in. She might have just given them their first real shot at survival. Orom nods, gripping the speaker tighter. Jae-yeon lays out the plan clearly. She takes the high ground while they search inside. If things go sideways and the infected start closing in, she draws them away with the speaker. It's risky, but it might be the only way everyone gets out alive. Sanwoo agrees immediately. He trusts her instincts, and frankly, no one's read the situation better than she has so far. Orum glances up at the tree. Her jaw tightens. It's not a glamorous job, but it's the one that holds the whole plan together. If she hesitates, they all might get trapped. She gives a sharp nod. I'm ready. Jae-yeon pauses, assessing Hanjoy with narrowed eyes. His trembling hands, the tear-streaked face. He's terrified, but there's a desperate logic in what he's saying. Sanwoo starts to protest, but Joy cuts him off with a frantic outburst. Please, if I go inside, I'll be the first to die. I just know it. I can watch from the tree. I swear I'll yell if anything happens. He grips the speaker tightly like it's his last lifeline. Orom's way stronger than me. Faster, too. Jae-yeon cuts him off firmly, telling Hanjoy to go inside instead. He's too big, and besides, she doesn't trust him. Then she turns to Oram, asking if she can manage climbing a tree, offering to help lift her if needed. Sweaty and tearful, Hanjoy suddenly grabs the speaker from Oram. Everyone freezes. The tension spikes as Hanjoy clutches the speaker like a grenade, finger trembling over the switch. His eyes are wide with fear, sweat running down his face. The air feels thick with panic. Jae-yeon raises her hand slightly, trying to keep him calm. Joy, don't do anything reckless. We're all just trying to survive. Sanwoo steps forward cautiously. Joy, hey, put the speaker down. You'll draw them all here. I know. Joy yells through gritted teeth, voice cracking. That's the only reason you're listening to me, right? You're all just thinking I'll slow you down, that I'll die out here first. Oram agrees, saying she want to go in a ways. She steps past him, brushing his shoulder gently. Sanwoo lingers a moment, then follows. The forest swallows them up as Joy shakily climbs the tree, still sniffling, still gripping the speaker like a loaded weapon. Orium offers a small smile, steadying her voice. I promise, we'll come back for you. Joy's eyes well up again, but this time it's from relief. He hugs the speaker tightly to his chest and nods, then starts clambering up the tree, shaky, clumsy, but determined. Orium watches him go, her expression unreadable. Let's go. They head toward the staff quarters, quiet, tense. Behind them, Joy clings to his perch, trying to stay brave, whispering to himself, It's fine, I'm safe, they'll come back for me. But deep down, Orum keeps thinking, fragile people break first. Hanjoy clutches a branch tightly as he finally settles into the tree, his chest still heaving with nerves. Below, the others disappear into the staff quarters. Inside, the atmosphere shifts to one of cold tension. Every step echoes louder than it should. Xianwoo keeps his voice low. You're reckless. Orom glances at him, surprised. Huh? He doesn't look at her directly. Even back at the mansion, you offered yourself. Then again, just now with Joy. You always throw yourself into danger without hesitation. She sighs, her tone soft. Thanks for the concern, but I'm not doing this to prove anything. I just can't afford to sit around waiting. I have to get to that phone. Jae-yeon checks the hall ahead. Looks clear. Orom nods. Let's sweep the area first. Make sure it stays that way. The three of them move deeper into the building, their footsteps cautious but deliberate, eyes sharp, nerves tight. Outside, hidden in darkness, a pair of glimmering eyes watches from behind the trees. Henry, the veterinarian, summarizes the infection symptoms. The infected continue moving even after their hearts stop beating, strange mucus oozes from their bodies, and they become violently aggressive, attacking those around them. He asks if anyone has noticed anything else. Choi Monica speaks up, recalling that the staff member's body was unusually hot, and while running toward the pool, she was sweating heavily and mumbling to herself. She turns to Ji-so, who confirms she saw similar behavior earlier. The staff member was scratching herself incessantly, complaining of intense itching. Ji-so also mentions noticing red splotches on the woman's skin, which might be another sign of the infection. Do Go-hoon rushes out of the room toward the toilet, panic rising inside him. No, this can't be happening! He locks the door behind him and slowly pulls open his shirt. His heart pounds as his eyes land on the red splotches spreading across his chest, the unmistakable sign he hoped he wouldn't find. San-woo moves closer to the locked safe, the silence in the room pressing down on them. The zombie stillness under the table offers no comfort, no clues, no warning. Jae-yeon's eyes scan the area while Oh-room's mind races, frustrated by the absence of any phones. Jae-yeon kneels by the safe, fingers poised over the keypad. They keep devices in secure spots, she reminds, but forcing it open won't be easy. San-woo nods. Let's try codes tied to the show. Maybe the premiere date? Jae-yeon shakes her head. No luck. What about the first shoot date? They exchange hopeful glances, fingers ready to try again. Oh-room's mind races. Cracking the safe seemed impossible. If the phone was really inside, contacting Na-room would be out of reach. She felt the weight of being the last guardian. Panic crept in. There had to be a way to get a phone. Then, something caught her eye. Beneath the zombie sprawled on the floor, a familiar shape. The staff member's phone. She reached for it, but the zombie's eyes snapped open, jaws snapping toward her. San-woo reacted quickly, pulling her back and then silencing the creature for good. Are you okay? He asked, concern etched on his face. Jae-yeon examined Oh-room's hand carefully. You're all right, she said. Grateful, Oh-room nodded. Thank you. Jae-yeon breathed a sigh of relief. So the staff phone was here all along. Good thing we found it. We should get out of here quickly. It's been too long already and we have no idea what's waiting for us outside. Han-joy clings tightly, feeling the branch wobble beneath him. Doubt creeps in. Is it too thin? Could it break? His eyes dart to a thicker branch nearby, which seems much more solid and reliable. Jae-yeon pushes the door open just enough to spot a few zombies inside. Urging haste, she signals to Han-joy. Suddenly, a loud snap breaks the tense silence. The branch beneath Han-joy gives way. He plunges downward as the zombies lunge toward him, their snarls filling the air. Han-joy falls with a sharp, "Ah! Ouch!" But the speaker's switch is still on, amplifying his voice across the area. The sudden noise triggers the zombies, who instantly dash toward him. Frozen in shock, Han-joy can't move. San-woo and Jae-yeon watch in horror as Oh-room springs into action. Grabbing the speaker, she shouts loudly, drawing the zombies' attention away. The horde shifts direction, chasing her instead. Oh-room rushes back, offering Han-joy a hand. He nods, catching his breath, and says, "Yes, thank you." Seon-woo holds Oh-room back gently, his hands moving quickly to check for any injuries. She looks at him, a bit surprised, and says, Seon-woo." Jae-yeon cuts in, urgency in his voice, reminding them the zombies might return at any moment. "We need to move, now." Han-joy nods eagerly, his eyes flickering toward Oh-room with admiration. So cool, he thinks, watching her steady and ready despite everything. Oh-room squares her shoulders, ready to follow, her heart pounding, but her resolve stronger than ever. Song Ji-so watches the sushi on the table, but her mind is elsewhere. She nudges Do-hyunk, a worried edge in her voice. The incessant honking from the car outside gnaws at her nerves. Do-hyunk oppa, are we just going to ignore that noise? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Henry calmly shakes his head, eyes fixed somewhere beyond the room. No, it's better to leave it as is. Ji-so blinks, confused. Huh? Why? He explains. Those infected are swarming the car because of the honking. If the people who went out want to come back, we need to keep the infected distracted, drawn to that noise. She frowns, looking toward the main entrance. But that's the main entrance. How are the people supposed to get back in? Outside, Oh-room's voice cuts through the tension. Maybe they should come in through the back gate. Everyone looks at her, surprise flickering in their eyes. Wait, there's a back gate? She nods quickly. Yeah, but there's no doorbell or anything. If no one's waiting there, you can't get in. Since the car keys are inside the mansion but the alarm's still blaring, maybe that was on purpose, to lure the horde to the front gate. Sunwoo's eyes widen as realization hits him. That means, Room finishes. If I'm right, then someone should be at the back gate. Yu Do-hunk announces their arrival. Do-bi grumbles about how long it took but's relieved to see everyone safe. Han-joi's face lights up. Ye-jung turns to Oh-room, praising her quick thinking. Oh-room blushes, giving a shy thanks. Go Mi-hun immediately checks on Sunwoo, concerned for any injuries. Do-bi urges everyone to hurry inside. Jae-yeon briefs Yu Do-hyunk they couldn't find the participants' phones but did recover a staff phone. Yu Do-hyunk commends Jae-yeon's efforts. Han-joi groans, exhausted and rattled by the ordeal. He talks about the infected climbing trees and insists he needs a shower and rest. Yu Do-hyunk stops him, saying everyone must be checked for bites first. Han-joi protests loudly, frustrated and annoyed by the inspection, complaining about how hard they worked to get the phone. He even questions Ye-jung's expression, who simply starts removing her own clothes to demonstrate there's nothing to hide. Yu Do-hyunk directs Mi-hun to examine the women separately, signaling the seriousness of their precautions. At the back, Mi-hun gave Oh-room a doubtful glance, noting her unscathed appearance. She pointed out that being sheltered behind Seon-woo probably kept her safe. Oh-room fired back, questioning why Mi-hun even went out if she wasn't going to contribute, and suggested she might have been more of a hindrance. Jae-yeon quickly stepped in, criticizing Mi-hun for speaking out of turn, especially after staying in the safest spot. Mi-hun's expression hardened, challenging Jae-yeon's words. Without another word, she brushed past them and told Oh-room it was time to move forward. Hae Oh-room and Shim Jae-yeon returned without any issues. Ban Sunwoo and Han-joi also came back safely. The phone retrieval team was successful, but the phone was locked. Do-bi questioned why someone would bring a stranger's phone. Choi Monica defended the team, frustrated by how they were being treated after all their hard work. Do-bi pointed out that without the phone, they couldn't report anything. Yu Do-hyunk reassured them they could still use the emergency line. But when they tried calling 119, all lines were busy. The call went straight to voicemail. Do-bi was shocked and demanded to know why no one was answering. Choi Monica suggested it might be due to heavy call volume. Do Go-hoon anxiously asked what they should do next as the phone kept ringing. Yu Do-hyunk urged everyone to stay calm, confident that someone would pick up eventually. In a fishing village overrun by zombies, only a handful of survivors remain. Go, move quickly, get on the boat. We're leaving now, someone yells. No, there are still people who haven't boarded, another shouts. There's another boat, just go, comes the urgent reply. Once aboard, someone orders, set sail now, we're safe. But suddenly, the boat begins to shake violently. Something lurks beneath. Without warning, fish leap from the water onto the boat, attacking and biting the survivors in a shocking ambush. Hidden behind the bushes, one man mutters in disbelief. This is insane! What the hell is happening? Another asks anxiously, what do we do now? The sea isn't even an option anymore. Where can we go? Someone else wonders. The reply comes grimly, there's nowhere safe left. Then a hopeful voice points out, the mansion over there. Might be a good spot, and I heard there are some pretty girls there too. The call finally connects, cutting through the tension like lightning. Everyone snaps to attention as the calm voice on the other end identifies itself. Relief floods the room. Without wasting a second, Yu Do-hyunk jumps in. He gives a rapid rundown. A deadly infection has broken out during filming on a remote island. The crew didn't make it. Only a handful of cast members are still alive. The infected behave like rabid animals, feral, violent, completely unpredictable. He estimates there are 15 survivors left, and although the exact location isn't clear, it's roughly a 2-hour trip by boat from Busan. He tries to say more, how they're low on supplies, that time is running out, but the call begins to crackle. The operator's voice fades in and out, then cuts off mid-sentence. Only static remains, no confirmation. No promise of help, just silence, and the sound of breathing held far too long. The message from the phone echoes through the room like a lifeline. Rescue request received. Due to a high volume of emergencies, operations are underway in priority order. Your location has been identified. Remain calm and wait in a secure place for extraction. For a moment, the pressure lifts. Shoulders slump. A wave of relief washes over the group. Soft gasps, watery smiles. Someone even laughs quietly, almost in disbelief. They know where we are. We're actually going to make it out. Finally, it feels like the nightmare has an endpoint. Finally, they can breathe. Orom's chest tightens. That call, it was too smooth, too cold, like they'd already run through this 100 times before. Her thoughts spiral. They didn't ask how many were bitten, didn't ask if anyone was injured, not even one question about symptoms or transmission, which means they already know. They knew everything. And they didn't sound surprised at all. She replays the static-laced call in her head, the delay, the rushed tone, the chaos in the background. This isn't just about the island. The outbreaks everywhere. They're swamped, so swamped they can't even promise when they'll get here. They said, we're in the queue, but will they even make it in time? Then one name cuts through the noise in her mind. Nareum. Her stomach drops. If the infections reach the mainland, what's happening in Seoul? Is Nareum okay? She clenches her jaw. No. I can't afford to fall apart now. I have to survive. For her. Orem stares at the locked screen, tension creeping into her fingertips. If I want to reach Nareum, this phone is my only shot. But the screen blinks stubbornly. Incorrect password. This isn't a pattern. It's a numeric code. Maybe something personal? Or related to the show? The others keep throwing out guesses, shoot dates, production codes. But the device keeps locking out again and again. Realistically, the chances of cracking it practically zero. But I can't give up. She tightens her grip on the phone. No matter how impossible it seems, I have to find a way. Go Myeon's words hang heavy in the air, slicing through the fragile relief that had just begun to settle. Oreum stares at her in disbelief, but before she can even respond, Han Joy steps in, his voice sharp, trembling with frustration. The memory of how close they all came to dying still clings to him, and hearing Mihyun belittle their efforts is the final straw. Mihyun tries to brush it off, but the room isn't on her side. Choi Monica cuts in, her tone firm and biting, defending Orum without hesitation. Even Jaehyun, usually cold and precise, doesn't hold back. She stumbles to explain herself. But the backlash is clear. This isn't just about a phone anymore. It's about trust, effort, and the growing cracks in the group's unity. The air feels tense, brittle. No one wants to argue more, but the silence that follows is heavier than shouting. All eyes fall back to the phone. Still locked. Still useless. Dalray's eyes linger on the two, her expression unreadable. The sight of Jisoo clinging to Dak Go-hoon, laughing like the world outside isn't falling apart, stirs something in her chest. Discomfort, maybe disappointment. Jisoo's tone is light, flirtatious, but there's something calculated beneath it. Dak Go-hoon chuckles awkwardly, caught off guard, clearly enjoying the attention but uncertain how to react with Dalray nearby. The moment hangs in an odd tension. Half affection, half performance. Dalray quietly turns away, choosing silence over confrontation, but the weight of what she saw settles heavily in her gaze. Kyung stands quietly outside the door, her back pressed lightly against the wall. The muffled conversation filters through, Joy's eager, trembling voice, Orum's soft replies. Her expression is unreadable, but there's a flicker of something, uncertainty, maybe even jealousy, as she listens. Hearing Han Joy call Oreum a hero, promise to protect her, the flush in his voice, it strikes a chord. Kyung's eyes narrow slightly. Maybe she's surprised, maybe bothered, but she doesn't step in. She lingers a moment longer, then silently turns and walks away, her footsteps careful, her face unreadable. Orum sinks onto the bed, finally able to clear her mind after washing up. So much has happened in just a few hours. Dwelling on it won't help. What really matters now is Nareum. She has to make sure her sister is safe. But first, she must unlock that phone, no matter what. Who was the staff member who owned it? Oreum can't remember their face at all. There's a soft knock. Kyung steps in quietly. Oreum, she asks, closing the door behind her. In her hand, she holds a phone, dangling it between them. Looks like you really need this. Oreum's thoughts race. There's another phone? She hadn't realized Kyung hadn't turned hers in. Why didn't you tell me before? She asks. She shrugs. Didn't want to. I don't like anyone messing with my things, she thinks. Really? That's why? And says I just need to check if my sister is safe. Please. Kyung agrees, but only with a condition. Keep out of my business from now on. Your constant prying gets on my nerves. Leave me alone, even if I'm on the brink of death. Orom is taken aback. Kyung challenges her. So do you want the phone or not? If you're eager for the next chapter, drop a comment expressing your interest in a part 2. Don't forget to subscribe and ensure to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Until next time.